1, 2, 3.
Sunday dinners. Hey, oh, hey. Sunday dinners. Hey, oh, hey. Sunday dinners. Hey, oh, hey. Sunday dinners.
Yes.
33. I remember. No.
33. See, I wouldn't have given you that.
It's all the vegetables.
Yeah, I know. VeggieTales.
It is.
Okay, would you start?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday Dinners. This is a podcast for people who have given up on church, but not on the Lord and Savior, our Jesus Christ. Do you know whenever you are at dinner somewhere and you are with your family, it's somebody's house, and then you just have great conversation, and that conversation has no boundaries, and it may end in a fist fight or a hug. We do not
Either
know.
one.
That is what this space is for. And listen, if you're looking for a conclusion, you won't find it here. But what we offer is different perspective and how to love people where they are. So, welcome. And with us, we have to my right,
Far right, Ryan Gwill. I am the producer of this podcast. This is echoing really bad. And I am a member of UCity and got some of my best buddies here with me. And
right.
just trying to
he's talking about me.
follow Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, he's talking
Take a
about
pause, everyone. Guess his age. Don't say it. Do, 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 do. How old are you, Ryan?
33.
33. He eats lots of vegetables, so
VeggieTales.
Keith thought he was 25. Okay, I am Maria Furlow. I am the associate pastor at UCity, although it's still, still getting used to saying that. I'll get there someday. Just really passionate about who UCity is, and especially this podcast giving space for people who might not feel comfortable stepping into church.
That's right.
Hearing a little bit about who God is.
And I am Pastor T. I'm the lead pastor of UCity, the church. And to my left.
To your left is, me.
You,
I'm Keith Richardson. I am a life coach, and I feel a little inspired to be a pastor in training after being with all these people.
Wow.
But,
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Woo, you heard it here, folks.
Wow.
yeah, we're gonna take this part out, but I am
We don't
really
do that
happy. I'm happy to be here, and I am an advocate for conversations that bring people closer to God and to themselves.
Yeah. He
That
is.
awesome.
He really is. And if you can guess, this podcast is called Black Against White.
Yep. We trapped Keith into this conversation. He did not know
For
he
sure.
was getting
I don't know where my keys are, but I will find out.
We took them.
So what do we got?
Okay,
Mafia?
so it's nice that we can just laugh about that. All right. So this is a UCity the Church podcast. And at UCity, we are a multi-ethnic church where we Ryan.
Meet God in new ways.
Yes, we meet God in new ways. We
Love people where they are.
love people where they are, and we follow Jesus boldly. And so this is our honest attempt to be real, but also a little bit light, because honestly, it's not light right now. In our culture, in our world, it doesn't feel light. But we have been at this multi-ethnic thing now for 4 years. And so we just wanted to take the opportunity to attempt a multicultural conversation on the podcast.
That's right.
And
Lord help us.
Keith got forced into it because he was on our previous 2 podcasts on authenticity.
Yeah, and I don't know how you guys thought it was a good idea to have me, because when he
This is
he
great.
talked about, you can have fist fights and stuff, and I'm like, this might be the first fist
we'll
fight.
see.
I'm pretty combative.
We will see.
I'm kidding.
We are not scared. We're a little scared. Okay, so again, this is going to be the light-ish version. So first question: what is your cultural background as a human being?
Black.
Is that it?
That is it.
Where are you from?
I'll take
From Blacktown.
Oh my gosh.
No,
I'm sure that's a town.
No. I am
Blacktown.
Well, we were in your town last week.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
we were in the
Yes.
town of Terrell.
That's-
There's a Terrell town in North Carolina.
I was like, y'all in
Yeah, I took them to my. I took them.
I think
to
they
my
called
city.
it Terrell though.
Yeah, Terrell, and they say it wrong, but it's
Texas?
fine. It's fine. No,
No, it's like a
and
half hour
that's my
from here.
other town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's something that I'm working on
Tell you.
privately. That that is
That's not on the map.
yeah.
But
It will
you
be
might have
soon.
actually been the first black person there
Yes,
Oh.
in real life,
in real life.
probably the first black person to step into that Publix that we went into. But I am African American. A lot of people think I am African, but I am African American. Raised. Is this a question?
Yes.
Okay, raised. Am I? I'm like, okay. Raised. No,
you
I
can
was,
answer however you want.
I spent a lot of raised in 2 different hoods for a beginning part of my life. One was called we called it Shankentown, and the other one we call it Fishytown. And then in high school moved to China Grove.
You did?
Is,
I don't know what
which
that
is like
means.
2 stoplights in KKK capital. So
That's where my mom grew up.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is getting deep already.
It is surprising
that's
that Terrell lived there.
No, yeah, I did. Lived there for.
You said.
I had to cut him off before he said anything too bad about the
No, that's why I'm
He
like,
started talking about
I'm
my
like,
grandma.
like KKK time, and then he's like, oh, I'm like,
No,
Hold on.
I've had some life experiences there that for sure that I still carry with me a little twitching here and there. But and so that man, and I believe that was purposeful of God. And so I grew up in a black church, Pentecostal, so blackity black, where they roll on the floor and drool, and then they cut each other out right after service. And so
Is that where Keith gets it from?
clearly you can tell we're from the same culture.
because this side of the couch got it. And so, yeah, that is my coach. Black against white,
Terrell
y'all.
made us sit here, by the way.
Yeah, they chose this.
It was just the easiest.
yeah.
It was just the easiest.
This segregation.
Oh yeah, that's what happened.
Let's be a family. And
Okay,
then y'all just
we
chose
are
them.
all right. We are taking opportunities on this podcast to have non-judgmental learning opportunities. So,
Okay.
can you please explain? You said you are African American, and people think that you're African. So please explain that.
Well, so my wife came here as Nigerian.
So can I say this, because this is why I shouldn't have said on this side, because black people always, we're like, you said non-judgmental, and it's this whole we listen and don't judge, but
Yeah.
I'm like grunting the whole time he talking and stuff, and it's just like, it's just so black. He's like, so I'm like, whoa, like, what? And so
Okay, well,
So he's judging.
we should have,
okay.
Ryan should have been over here. I should have been
We
over
should.
there.
That's what I said for the
No,
record.
that's what I said, and y'all wanted to.
Oh, he's straight up
Well, you know me, I
lying.
wasn't even thinking about it. So.
I don't want to be divided.
Y'all just wanted to, divide. No, so a lot of people get mixed up. They think that I am African because I have African features, big nose, big lips.
Okay, that's all right.
And then that she's African American.
But
And
what's the
Haiti.
difference between an African and an African American?
Oh, just who's been here longer.
You know what?
Because I'm trying to.
I'm glad I stayed for this one,
I'm
because
trying
this, this
No,
right.
no, there is no.
You explained it because Kemi's parents.
Kimmy's
Are
parents. Kimmy's parents for first generation.
I have a lot of experience. Just let me explain it.
Thank
okay?
you, Ryan. Go ahead. Let's try.
Thanks. Let Ryan.
No, Kimmy's parents are first generational African
From
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay.
And I don't know where am I.
This
This is not starting off. This is not starting off.
Listen.
Oh, God.
This is.
Wait, but
I don't
first
know.
generation is
Just
still
lost my
not
bloodline.
African American.
You said what?
So she was born here.
Kimmy was.
Yes.
Kimmy was born here. Sorry.
Kimmy was born here.
So, but she's still. I mean, she's still African American, right? She's just more
She
African
is, and
than
she
American.
is African American. Yes, because she was born here. But that's
But
it.
people tend to, if their parents are from a place, I feel like they're more likely to like. Well, I guess anybody. Like sometimes people just want to have more ties to where they think.
But she maybe would
Right.
consider herself like still African since she's the first
Right.
among her family here. Yeah.
And typically, even when true Africans move to America, they still hold dear to their cultural practices and stuff. So they kind of still, their children still feel like, oh, we're African.
Yeah.
We're just here. So
Well, also because all of the different African countries have different cultural practices and ties.
Mm-hmm.
true.
So
Absolutely. I don't know if that
thank you
answered
for
your
that.
question.
No, it did.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's
I don't
better
know
than
why it
who's
was so
here-
hard.
Who's here
but
longer?
yes.
It's just a lot of, there are few things that I held back saying. So
Why did you hold them
that's
back?
why. Next question, please. No.
Yeah,
We're trying to get somewhere here.
No, we are. They are just. I don't know. I usually would say them, and you know I don't have a problem
That's
saying
why.
it.
That's why I don't
Right.
know why you're not saying them.
Yeah. Because and you asked what is the difference between African and African American.
Because
And
I've
I was
heard
about
you
to
explain
say,
that to other people
just
just
who-
fine. But
who-
when I ask on the
Who
podcast,
just arrived first and how they arrived?
oh,
Was it willingly or
right. Why didn't you?
or was it forcefully?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm. I actually think that is something, because we had that conversation one time and it actually really, it made me sad because my dad has done like the deep dive. I know, like, my goodness, like all this Italian, French, I don't know who slept with somebody who bought a name, like this whole situation.
Yeah.
And that's not something that you,
Yeah, that's not something. I mean, I can do my best. I mean, we can, and they can guess, but who knows what is actually the case. So I cannot probably look back and see who my great grandfather is, but like maybe because of my blood, you can say, okay, you're from this area, but that's about it.
but can you like just say like the flat out, like hard, straight, like why?
Why? What?
I honestly don't think that everybody has thought this like far deep to understand.
Oh, why?
Yes.
Why I cannot
Yes.
go that like why I can't search that far?
Yeah.
Oh well, because I mean, when was slavery abolished? What's the date?
1890.
I mean, there are
segregation ended in
separate dates.
Segregation ended in. Well, because first there was. It ended, but then it didn't end in Texas until like decades later, and then segregation.
Yep. So here, Google AI says 1865.
So
1865. So let's do the math.
1865. Okay.
Let's do 2025 minus 1865. 160 years ago. 160 years is 2 lifetimes. A person would
people.
live to 80, 60, 67,
We've
80.
been friends for 150.
That's right.
Yeah,
One.
yeah, so-
It was 250 by the end of the podcast.
So really, maybe if I'm lucky, I can go back 2 lifetimes to see who my ancestors were. But we came over here as animals, literally, and so everything was stripped from us. And so, I mean, that's really how far you can go back.
You can't
see.
you can't track.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, That is why. That's why. That's the direct answer.
Mm-hmm. So is it, and then 1900 to 1939 is the segregation era, and then 1964 is Civil Rights Act.
Mm-hmm.
Still is very recent history.
Yeah,
Very.
very recent.
Okay.
Me. Okay. So I am African American, and I grew up in a small town called Lexington, North Carolina, and grew up in church. I grew up in a Baptist church, but then I kind of migrated to a church that claimed to be non-denominational, which I still feel like has very much Baptist roots. Well, it's kind of a melting pot.
So, but Baptist isn't is not charismatic, right?
No. And so the church was non-denominational, and then they pretty much adopted a word of faith type of denomination, which is not charismatic either. They typically lean to the side of being pretty conservative in their praise.
In their praise.
So,
Not
but we
much
were a little
rolling
bit more radical. That's why I'm saying I don't know what we were, but anyway, I definitely have roots in a Baptist denomination from my grandmother and family in that way. And I've had my upbringing because of where I grew up. I did always have a mixture or a diverse group of friends, because there were times where I went to all white schools. There was times where I went to a mixture. So just I've always kind of.
When you say all white schools, you mean like you were the only African American?
Yeah, and I definitely couldn't fill up a whole hand.
Oh wow.
Full of how many African Americans, and we weren't friends. The ones that did, and what I consider the all white schools. So we were separate enough that it was like, oh my God, a black girl. So yeah, it was me. I went because typically where I was from, like the county schools and stuff, they were more white dominated in those type of suburban. Well, now we call them suburbs, but when I grew up, it was the country. And so yeah, that was kind of my upbringing, but it definitely helped me to relate with a lot of and relate and be able to adapt to a lot of different situations in life, period, because of the diversity of my exposure. So yeah, that's me.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah.
I don't have any hard questions for you.
No
yet.
hard questions.
Okay.
Wow.
Who's next?
You're welcome.
Wow.
Okay, you're next.
I'm next.
Uh-huh.
I grew up in a town called Troutman. It is how it sounds.
Is that country? I'm not from around here, so I need some geographical context.
It was country.
Okay.
2 stoplights.
Was it like
It is as country as China Grove.
okay.
Yes.
China Grove may be a little bit more
It's more. It's
progressive.
no.
No, or less.
I don't
Less?
think less.
Okay,
I think
less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know why. We're just closer. So we're small. It was a small town, but we were in between 2 larger towns, between a town called Mooresville and Statesville, which were larger. But it was interesting because but the mixture that we had was very interesting. Like it was very country, so as you would think, like a lot of white people. But we had like a really strong Hispanic community that really seemed to, as I graduated out of high school and my brother was coming through, like that's where a really strong influence from Hispanic culture came from. But we grew up playing soccer, so we saw all the Hispanic culture as well. But then you had Mooresville, which was...
I thought it was Mooresville.
Mooresville. Yes, sorry.
Mooresville.
Mooresville.
I don't know.
Mooresville.
To say it.
So anyways, we were kind of the country in between like really 2 different types of towns. But that had kind of different cultures. But we were close enough to everything where it didn't feel like we were out in the middle of nowhere, kind of like Lexington, sort of. It's like you're close to Winston in these areas where, you know, there is a city-ish style that's
Oh
close by.
yeah, we thought Winston was like
the big city.
big city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
funny.
So two stoplights. Now growing up though, I don't know how far we want to go into this right now, but growing up, like my friends and I, nobody wanted to be like, we weren't like country. Like we were listening to hip hop. We wanted to be, you know, everybody wanted to be the next rapper, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we weren't like, even though we were in the country, I would say like not until we got older did that really somehow come out and like really sit with us, and like our parents' countryness really like stuck in. But like really, I feel like hip hop culture and all the pop culture really just had a hold of us like when we were younger going through. But
And I think that you have a cool echo, Ryan, coming in from me. Hello?
oh,
Can you hear it?
from this?
I can hear it over
Sure.
here. But China Grove is like Troutman, like in between, like not major, but not quite major, but like Salisbury, and which is still and Kannapolis. So kind of that like that same feel, and maybe probably the same culture. And I'm not joking. The KKK had their rallies in the field behind my house, and you could look down behind the shed and see it
In
all
China
happening
Grove.
in China Grove.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were these just guys on tractors and that's your imagination?
No,
Or like,
no, it was real. It was real, and they didn't dress up as in the movies like that. Only a few did, and so there was like a few people, and they were very prominent. But the fire is real. The big tall fire, that's real. And then there would be. It seemed like the leaders were like in the robes and stuff.
You also said that you grew up in the hood. What yeah, I don't.
He got around.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't recall that experience.
This is before you. So Fishertown was from it was a Kannapolis from birth until 8th grade, and so I would spend half of my time there and half of my time in Shankytown and Concord with my grandparents from 8 to 5 a.m. during the day.
Oh.
And that was
You're
good
talking
too.
about over there where your grandmother and
Yeah.
your grandfather live.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's Shankytown. And then
Got you.
What?
Fishertown
How do
was
you
like that.
define hood?
why can't you ask Keith this?
You know, you asking
Okay,
the right
Keith,
person.
how do you define hood?
I have no clue. I've never been to
Well,
one.
we
No, I'm
just-
kidding.
You just call it.
You know, I would say it's for me. It's an urban area that full of a lot of
Where are your grandparents? You said that urban?
really.
That wasn't.
Yeah, no, it was.
That's
It was
urban?
urban.
That's what you
Yes.
consider urban?
Yeah,
Yes.
if you go for a ride down that
Confused about
street,
urban.
you would know that it's for sure urban. It's
And then what's
nothing-
the definition of urban?
Okay.
Okay. Oh my God. Urban.
Well,
Go ahead, Ryan.
so Rel gave me some stories of him growing up.
There
So
you go.
But I want to
don't
know
know if this
the
has to do
meaning
with
of
urban,
urban
but-
and hood.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
okay.
okay. So when I say it's an urban area, meaning that it's predominantly black, and there are a lot of disenfranchised black people there who live in poverty,
Okay.
and you can really tell by the environment. Like you just riding down the streets, you'll see the type of people walking, drug addicts, and just like
Absolutely.
at any point. And it's so funny because even thinking about my upbringing, where my grandmother lived in Lexington, in kind of the city, but it was similar surroundings but I wasn't even afraid of what we call crackheads. Like it's because they were just a part of the community. Like it was just like, oh, okay. And my grandmother would feed some of them, and I don't know where they lived or how because I don't even know if some of them actually had homes, but I think those were my first experiences with homelessness and drug addictions and those things around me. So yeah, that's what I would consider those urban hoods.
Yep, urban hoods. Yeah.
Okay.
And so you saw it in the neighborhood because of gentrification. Gentrification flipped.
Okay.
And so you didn't really get to see the version that I grew up in.
Okay. Well, this is honest on moment. Do you feel?
Wait, you didn't give us yours?
I will in a second.
Okay.
I'm taking captive this opportunity. Would you have defined urban like that? Just yes or no?
I feel like the urban definition is where a lot of Black people live.
Okay. I would not have known that. Would you expect for me to know how to define that? Or think I should?
I feel like you would have a roundabout.
Okay. Because I just feel like I've heard that used wrong.
Urban, well, like urban in its context. Urban is like busy streets, buildings, or whatever.
Yeah, like close to a heavy populated area.
Yeah, but
heavy
that's
populated area.
Why?
But that's not how you
Keith
said
said urban hood.
Oh.
Right. Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
Urban hood. Yeah.
So what? So urban hood.
But is there a difference between the term urban community, hood community?
We're gonna see.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah,
there is. Urban is
for sure.
Urban
Let
is
me see what
Washington D.C. Urban is New York. Urban is
right.
Urban is some parts of Charlotte. Urban is right. Compare urban hood though. Then there's country hoods, but like urban hood.
Country hood.
There's Chicago. What side is that? No, so
okay.
Denoting popular Black culture in general. So that's part of one of the definitions of urban in the dictionary.
Okay.
And that's where you grew up, urban.
Oh my gosh.
You grew up urban,
bro. What did I call it one time? And you're like, you can't call it that. What did I call it? Did I say the hood? I didn't say the hood. What did I say?
Yeah. No, and you did.
I said the hood.
And I was like,
and you said no, you didn't. You can't say that.
Yeah, you.
I grew up in. I grew up in Connecticut.
Okay.
Connecticut, and I was part of like a series of towns that was called the Valley. So if you're from Connecticut,
like the show,
so none of you guys know because you're not.
Nope.
But if I'm talking to somebody a different part of Connecticut, they're like, "Oh, you're from the Valley," and then there's some, connotations. I'm sure that would have. Yeah, it's probably for a different podcast.
What are the connotations?
No,
it's
not.
I love that because so you grew up northern.
Oh yes, I am. Yes, so that is what there is a whole ton. I grew up in Connecticut. My family is from New York. I think my great grandparents were from Italy. Came over.
Great grandparents
from Italy. Yeah. So my grandparents are not, but they're, and so it's actually funny. Brent Campbell, he preached last week. Mm-hmm. I used to work at Lake Forest with missions, and Brent was one of our supporting missionaries, and I was meeting him for the first time, just getting to know each other. And he's like, "Can I just ask you something?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Are you white?" I was like, "I'm from Connecticut. It's in the South, things are just talked about way different that I didn't really fully realize until UCity, where we started actually having some of these conversations." And he was asking me about he wanted to know my heritage as Italian, but I did not know. I was like, I felt like it was a trick question. But my family heritage is very Italian, fully Italian on my dad's side. My mom's side is Italian and Irish, which is
so you're white-ish.
It's a special combination.
White-ish. She's white-ish.
But the southern northern thing is just it's a real part of life. Noticing the differences. So culturally, you guys are all southern, basically.
Yes. Yeah. Can we go back to what connotations does
the Valley
does a person from the Valley have?
Yeah.
Oh, you asked us all the questions.
But that's not.
It doesn't have to define you.
Okay, she's a Valley girl's very friendly.
That's why we need him. You had to be on the couch. Thank you. That was great.
Oh, that was nice and positive.
A girl from the Valley's very friendly. She's friendly.
Okay. I'm thinking friendly means something else.
Yeah, it's friendly. Spunky. Spunky, mouthy, probably. Mouthy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
like
really
TV
country
shows.
to you, like the dialects.
Yes. Yeah, but country is the thing. Like, I mean, I didn't grow up. I mean, I grew up an hour and a half outside New York, so maybe that. But like, geographically, you would look around and it would look very similar to where I'm from, but there's not country. I mean, there were definitely northern rednecks. That is for sure a thing.
Whoa! We're gonna start throwing out slang like that because no one has talked about rednecks at all. We said country.
Right. I
Those are
know.
different.
She was the only one.
I was talking about a different topic.
She was the only one.
Oh, you looked at me when you said redneck. your neck almost snapped, and you turned over here and looked at me. And I just want to clarify that. Now, I'm not saying I'm not, but that is not a term that I have ever used to describe myself or my family.
Wow.
I didn't even realize I looked at you.
Yeah, you were there and you went here.
Well, you should look
I'm
over
just
and
sharing
tell
the
him. Well, it doesn't have to define you.
It doesn't have to define you.
It doesn't have to define
Well, I just want to be clear as
because
we're
you grew up in hip hop culture.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, my favorite.
Hip hop culture.
My favorite redneck northern family said, just make sure when you go to a party, you back in. So when you're drunk, you can just easy find your way out. It's like the street knowledge.
See, that's funny because we back in for another reason.
What are you back
That's
in?
it.
To get the hell out of there. That's what happened.
But that's
and
not
what y'all
me.
call
I'm just-
urban
contest is that
urban.
you back in, so
You
when they
back
start
in.
shooting, you fly
can
out of
get
there,
out
you know?
fast.
Yep.
Have you ever been shot at?
Yeah, I've been in a
I'm sure you will.
parking lot
No, I've never been
with
shot
my
at.
cousin Marcus at a party that was shooting, and we backed in, and so we just sped out
It's a
of
good
there.
thing you backed in.
Yeah, and there's the thing. Anytime I've been somewhere where there was violence or guns, they weren't shooting at me, but black people have the tendency to just be shooting.
They just be
Oh.
shooting.
Why?
You're like,
Why?
They just be
This
like,
Oh.
just doesn't seem like a good idea.
and a lot of times they don't get the person that they were after. I'm like, it was just some random person who's just like,
Yeah.
was good to the community and did philanthropy and stuff. It was like, what?
very generous with his time, and
Right.
and they were a good one. And
And
they
so
were a
you
good
now
one.
have to hear this family talking about like,
Oh, it doesn't even sound like that.
talking about this guy who was good to the community, but he just happened to want to go to the club
Yeah.
that weekend. And,
That's it.
and
That's right.
you know,
Lesson: be less good
What were you
to
going to
the
say,
community.
Ryan?
I don't know.
because it won't matter if you get caught in the club. They're
You
going
get
to
caught in the club,
They're going to define you,
will- and you may catch a stray, and it won't matter.
So let's not deter too far from Maria real quick.
Yeah.
So-
Okay.
Yeah, Maria.
Wait, I
So
need
did
to
you
know.
not
Wait,
fit
I
in?
really
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I need to know, is redneck an offensive term?
Oh, no.
Brian was
I
like,
would
I'm
not
about
take.
to
I would
tell you.
actually would not take it.
Because I
as-
don't know that if it is, I need to know.
Oh, for someone,
I guess it doesn't sound great.
I would say probably half people would take it offensively
Okay.
of being called a redneck. I mean,
I don't think you're.
I
I
see
don't
it as
think
like-
you're a redneck, Ryan. I just don't think that term.
Just don't call
Wait, so you see
anyone
it as a
redneck.
bad thing?
No, I didn't think it was offensive.
Nice.
What?
Ryan?
You don't?
He
I
just-
didn't know it was
Well,
offensive.
yeah,
He
but
just
y'all was talking about
psychoanalyzed you.
urban. How
I
do
know,
you
that's
define
what-
redneck? How do you
Yeah, how
define
do you define
redneck?
redneck?
Good question.
I literally thought it was somebody that works outside a lot.
Oh, that's
That's
called
how-
blue collar.
No, that's
Really?
how they're red. That's how their neck gets red.
So,
I mean it is true,
do
but
you
that's
think
not what the
rednecks can
term's
be
used
any
for.
ethnicity?
Please. Please answer this.
Please.
I guess
so juicy.
I guess it depends. Wait.
So I actually think a redneck can be any ethnicity.
But
Okay.
can your neck turn red?
No.
That's what
Why that turn black when it's in the sun?
It would be a different color
But
neck.
I don't take redneck as like, I mean, that is probably where the term came from originally, but that's not how I see it used culturally.
How does it use culturally?
I don't know. It's people. You can be country and not redneck, but you can't be.
If you're redneck, you're from the country.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
Okay.
So, but redneck is, I don't know. You kind of just you're just less in tune with culture. I feel like
Outside of your own.
yeah, I don't know how to define it actually. But
You wanna Google
it's
it? Let's Google
like you
it.
can be country and still be a part of society, whereas like redneck, I feel like you're more outside of the norm of what society is. So like
Isolated.
I just don't think that black people can be rednecks.
Oh, yeah. Well,
what
the
so if
dictionary
a black
says
person lives in the country
they're not
and
redneck.
let's say they're I mean, typically rednecks you would say
Sure.
are like on the poor end of the spectrum as well.
Yeah, I would say country.
Yeah.
So if a black person's from the country and like
Just call them country.
poor and just has like, I don't know, rolls up in some beat up truck with no doors on it, like
What you calling this? Country.
you just call them country.
It's
Okay.
up the
Country.
word.
No, listen.
I don't have the words.
I'm just saying.
When I tell you, I was like, I'm gonna keep it straight. I'm gonna keep it straight. I'm gonna keep it straight.
But
And I was
know,
like, I'm not looking at Keith.
This
I'm
is
not.
good information, though.
I'm not.
He's growing up still. He's growing in Christ. But this
I'm
is
not
good.
looking over here because there are other words.
There are, but this is
What are the other
good
words?
information
Okay,
because I didn't think
what are
white
the other
people.
words?
I didn't think white people even thought that black people could be called rednecks.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was something that was a term that was owned by white people. Like it's like no, like we're rednecks. We're kind of the rebels who kind of have a certain edginess to them that just I didn't know.
Edginess.
Rednecks seem, and I think you're right, Ryan. Rednecks seem like they intentionally separate themselves from society, even usually represented by another flag, right?
Oh, that's a whole.
I mean, that's what some of what I've seen.
No,
but not all of them.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say like
Confederate.
if it's no, a black guy comes in, he's like he's got no doors on his truck.
Sure.
He rolls in, he's got maybe he's got like some kind of like denim vest or American flag vest type thing, just like and got some big boots on. Like, I don't know. I would just
in
think
the hood.
Yeah.
In the
We
hood.
don't call them rednecks.
What do you call that? Can you bleep it out or something? Like what?
I have no idea.
Can you
But like where I'm
spell
from,
it?
I mean, you just call them.
We'll be right back after these messages. And we'll have to
We
talk
will
about
now
that.
leave
off
you
of-
for a.
Yeah,
Wait, sir, you
we'll
can't
talk-
say it.
We'll talk about
No.
that.
Is
off
it
of-
just-
No.
Yeah, no.
And no, not on camera.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
All right, you guys have to Google it. Okay, I did Google redneck.
And don't Google it. You know.
You Googled it?
No, redneck. I
Okay,
Googled.
got it.
I Googled redneck, and I need to apologize
Black
for
man with
using
no-
this term
Black man with no doors.
according to Google.
Well,
I was like, did she Google black man with no doors?
Yeah, with no doors, jean jacket.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, Ryan, I actually got sense. I know how to behave. Okay. Ryan's like, who is this?
Google says that redneck is a derogatory term mainly,
Okay.
but not exclusively. Okay. Applied to white Americans perceived to be crass and unsophisticated,
White American?
closely associated with rural white areas of southern United States. Its meaning possibly stems from the sunburn found on a farmer's neck dating back to the 19th century. We know stuff here.
unsophisticated. Maybe that's a good word.
We know.
Maybe that's what I was trying to get at. Like outside of the
outside of the-
societal norm.
Well, and it is associated with being a part of the place. We got nowhere.
Hey, this was my favorite podcast. I'm not gonna lie. This is
Oh
the
gosh,
most
this
entertaining
was
have to
part.
go where you want it
This
to
was
go.
part
podcast
one.
I've ever
It just
that
goes
we have
sometimes.
had this season.
This was part
is
one
this
of 25 of our cultural
This is so
conversations.
We
funny.
literally got nowhere, and it is
We
okay.
have further.
Keith only blinked a
we
million
have furthered
times.
the narrative that we don't understand each other completely. like we are.
We have furthered racism. Actually, we have,
Before you can
We
talk
set
about
us
a
back.
topic, you have to define it.
That's right.
We learned that.
That's what
right.
we tried to do.
and we spent the whole.
This is hey, okay, great. This is why we need to have more conversations like
gosh.
this, because we cannot unite. This is true diversity though to me, because you cannot unite really or even have a diverse church without really trying to understand
to be able
the
to
people.
understand.
Like just having a bunch of different colors on a stage or that are active in ministry, to me that is not how you really integrate in a healthy way. And so I love this. I mean, because we also know how to coexist in our differences, and that's what I love, and that's the humor of it all. For me, is just kind of like, wow, we are really sitting here having conversations that people struggle to have.
They really do
because
struggle to have.
by now someone would be offended just because of even us being insulted by the fact that it's like, wait, what are you laughing about this thing? And we've been trying to understand rednecks and all of the things.
Guys with no doors.
The northerners, the country people, the urban hood, you know. Anyway, it's refreshing to me, and so there is a purpose for this podcast.
Is hope. I know. I was joking.
There's, but that is honestly when I'm around, especially at a UCity, I'm very much free with my language of like even making people feel uncomfortable off top of like saying black people or white people, and then making like jokes and all the things, and they're like, oh my gosh, like you know, and so just promoting that culture of like freedom in it. And I'm gonna I mean probably one of my roles as the pastor is to like just have more liberty to like say the thing and make the jokes and all the things, so that it's further easier it's normalized faster and easier.
Do you think that because I love what you said, Keith, about you said like the offended part in a different context, or if it was somebody else asking like my questions or Ryan's questions or vice versa, like do you think you would have personally been offended? We don't have to be here, or is it your personality to be more open to these conversations? Like what?
Well, no, I don't think in any context I would be offended, because I really truly understand. I understand the fact that there is that gap that people really don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Like there's things that I don't know about white people, as many as I've been around. Because
do you want us to tell you any of them?
Well, I would have to ask Ryan, because I feel like you kind of whitish, so I need to go on a deep dive.
The valleys, it's on
The valley is the hint
the
right
valley
there.
is a little edgy. I don't know, you know. So, but no, I mean there are things that I'm even growing into, and so I don't get offended when I understand deep down, like you don't have to be racist to not understand, like, because you've never been a black person. Like there are nuances to being black that you're just like, me and him are laughing at just little subtle things that you're like, wow, what's funny?
But some people get mad about ignorance, though, that like racism isn't just hate, it's also ignorant.
Well, yeah, and I think that the thing that people get offended by with the ignorance is it's the action behind the ignorance. And I think that for me, your ignorance would be more of just trying to understand, as opposed to it causing you to divide because of their ignorance or try to cause some type of, you know.
I think the I think being all right with ignorance furthers like racism, like being comfortable,
Being
with
okay
it.
with being
Yeah,
ignorant.
being like there's like
Or having to
really,
give you a pass.
You cannot blame a person for what they don't know. You cannot, but you can sit in what you don't know and be okay with it and live by that, or you can dive in and see what you don't know, and I mean, and that's what, and you do very well. You like in every instant, you like always ask a question. You're taking a deep dive, even when it's uncomfortable for the other person. For the other person, it's like, oh my God, right? I mean, it's kind of like on this podcast, you're asking us stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, usually we would talk freely about that, but it's like, okay, and so you are great at that, and but there are just a lot of people who are just okay with knowing what they know.
But I also think people are afraid.
Sure.
To say the wrong thing.
They are, and I
they
think
will.
that, and I think,
and they will, right.
But I think that came from the root of what we're talking about, because when you have one group that use that information to dehumanize a group of people, it's hard to have balanced conversations about something without me being offended. Like, are you really trying to understand me?
Yes. Do you really care?
Are you trying to use this as a strike against me to dehumanize me, to make our differences mean that I'm not equally as important?
Yeah.
And so I think that's why.
That's a trust issue, a deep
it's a deep trust issue. And I have been guilty. Say, for example, I don't understand Hispanic culture as much. I was very familiar with black culture and grew up with white people. Well, as I was growing up, more Hispanics started to kind of be integrated into my schools and other things like that. And so when I hear even, and it's my disappointment with Western Christianity that thinks that we're fighting for rights, but even has the gall to dehumanize a group of people because of differences. And I'm like, that's so not like God. And I don't know in what context of Christianity you can make that okay. And so for me, I know that I'm ignorant about the culture, but I am very, very, very much so aware that those are humans. And I am very, very, very aware that they deserve to be treated as such. Just like I know as a culture what it's like to be dehumanized by something simple that I just didn't choose, like having this brown skin, and so that's why I just I'm happy that y'all took my keys and trapped me into the conversation.
Me too. Well, even just you saying that you're ignorant.
I was just going to say the ignorance part too, though, is the only way you get through around the ignorance is actually having the conversations, though. And you have to find people that you can have the conversations with, because think about where we typically learn everything from now. It's like our phones, right? But our phones are only showing us of people that are like us, people that do the same things as us. The algorithms are all set. It's not going to show you anything outside of your typical norm that you're going to do. So you're just furthering into learning about people that are like you, essentially.
That's right.
And so the only way to get outside of that is like you have to have the face-to-face conversations with people,
That's
and you
true.
have to have friends outside of this that you can talk with too, because you're going to continue to be ignorant in spaces, even the Hispanic culture, right? Like, when are we going to see stuff about Hispanic culture when we're looking through our phones at night?
Yeah,
from
it's all
6 to 9
linear
p.m.
information.
Right. Yep.
Can you ask Ryan his white man question?
His white man question?
Yeah, you were going to ask him.
What was that?
Well, you just said you would come to me with questions.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe I'm not as much ignorant anymore as just, I'm very aware that we have differences. Like, it could even be down to food. It's just like, but I'm okay with those differences.
What are some of the food differences? Can you please tell some?
Yeah, well, Ryan is VeggieTales, so I think he is the extreme of like, okay, let's look at the back of our salt, like that's like that part. But I think there are a group of Caucasian people that don't know that they use much salt.
the whole
and we do.
spices
We use a lot.
the whole
I'm very
spices.
mad about my reputation. Using spices.
We are heavy on culturally.
Wait, but where did that come
heavily on
from?
the
That white people don't use spices correctly?
Seasoning.
We're not spices. Yeah, see,
Seasoning.
because y'all put us on the spices.
Yeah.
Because we were salt and pepper and
salt, pepper,
and seasoned salt.
Salt and
Do
pepper,
you know
heart
about
attack,
this?
high blood
I'm
pressure.
learning right now. I'm
Okay.
learning.
High blood pressure.
I've had to.
No, it's seasoning. It's seasoning. That is the difference. You have 2 pieces of fish, and some people
And
like it
one-
with natural seasoning of lemon juice. And then it's like, oh
Gonna
yeah,
have a
this is
little-
amazing.
With a little-
One's gonna have a little
salt.
susu,
Yeah.
and one is going to have
One's
a
gonna have
do
of
Oh, what's
seasoning
in the
that gives it flavor.
do? What is this?
But a bunch of
Just
salt,
yes.
a bunch of pepper,
Who are the lemons?
a bunch of
Who are the lemons?
White people.
The white people.
All
yes,
white people.
Are the lemon.
White
Yes,
people
all of them
are a
White
little
versus black.
modest on the seasoning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is culturally how it's been. But that was passed down from generation to generation. Black people are becoming more health conscious and responsible. And so
Why is
with
seasoning
their-
associated with health conscious?
because
it's
it's
high
heart
blood
attack.
pressure
A
and
lot
heart
of
attacks
salt.
from all this salt
Yep.
and your dominant
Still have not
seasonings
named
being
any other seasoning
salt,
other than salt and pepper.
pepper and
Okay,
seasoned salt. Lowry seasoned salt has
Oh.
more sodium in it than the damn
It's like
ocean.
the preservatives in the
Like
seasoning.
it's-
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it.
My
So imagine every meat that you eat almost being equivalent to a
Oh,
ham
Ryan.
Yes.
that has been
a
salted.
ham that sits in salt for a year.
The tough part with those two is that like seasonings, if you don't have the raw ingredient, it's just a mix. A bunch of nasty stuff that you don't want gets mixed into that too. Kind of like
Is that what you're talking
think about like drugs. Drugs get cut up and you
Like
get
seasoning?
Drugs?
yeah. I was just
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
like how
Yeah,
drugs
yeah.
get cut up and you get like other stuff in there to make it
Oh, the
fuller,
seasons.
so that you. That's the same thing that kind of happens in seasoning.
like THC and
Yeah.
Delta.
You mean fentanyl?
Delta.
Oh, Ryan.
Delta.
What?
Delta 8.
You need to go.
know him.
Gosh. Oh, gosh. It's
time is it?
3:20. We got time. Oh, we're close it. We're having fun.
Delta 8.
Keith's got it. Okay.
But it's all unregulated stuff.
Yeah, and
so
they cut all that up.
but guys, stay tuned for an episode on pot.
Yes,
coming
that's
up.
coming next.
It is really
That's where I
Keith's
should have
Keith's
been.
gonna fly back for that one. That's part of the
Covered.
Green Light
Yeah,
Initiative.
it's part of the green light.
Right. I
but
gave
yeah.
myself the green.
But
no.
yeah, it is the yeah, I mean that's much is, and you got to see it. You just got to see it.
Okay. Well, I mean, the interesting part of this particular is there's all history in it too. We didn't get to come to any
Taste
of that. You're
test.
going to have to.
That's
We
it.
need a taste
Taste
test.
test.
Like
That's what it
literally
is.
need to be like, okay,
And you
Go
make your
and you-
Italian.
and you taste this food and be like, which one do white people make? Which one do black people make?
Yeah.
And it's not the divide; it's just the difference. It is
Yes.
definitely a preference.
You wouldn't
but
count
you
because
cut
you're
out. That's what I'm
Italian.
saying. When you say white seasoning and black
Yes.
seasoning, there's all different, like, you know.
But that's what we are talking about: white seasoning and black seasoning. But Italian, you cook with a lot of Italian, so you're not in.
And that's the
in the
difference
conversation.
between
I'm
You're
still
not
white.
in the
Sub-
conversation.
like
No.
fried chicken. So white people aren't unfamiliar with fried chicken, but they would term it like Southern style. Like we are like, this is soul food. Like, and so there's the difference. Yeah, fried golden chicken, but it may not be salty. It may just
That's right.
look
So
good.
do you think it's
fried
white
chicken.
Southern cooking? I'm just going like you can't go
It
to like
is.
California and say
Cracker
white cooking.
Barrel is
Or
white
You can't go to
Southern
like
cooking.
New York and say white
Cracker
cooking.
Barrel is
That's how I
white
grew up.
Southern
Right?
Yes, you
cooking.
can.
Yeah.
White
Absolutely.
Southern cooking.
So
That's how I grew up.
white is the void of a culture, basically. Is white is void of any culture?
You said it, not me.
Well, I'm asking you if that's how you're determining
I think
it.
that's a,
Well, that's
that's
why
a,
we
call
that's
it
a white
vanilla.
person question.
Vanilla. Oh, that feels vanilla. It's the void of
But it
something.
can't be like you have to have. Everybody has to have some
Sure.
culture.
No. Yes. I mean, I am joking. What it
weren't
is
joking.
that it's just a difference Just like culturally, culturally there are difference where like, so going to Haiti, right? They warned us because there was black people going, white people going, all different kinds of going, and they said, hey, here's a warning: when you hear Haitians talking really loud and yelling and at each other, like, don't be alarmed.
Right.
They are not upset.
Right.
They are just talking. Right. And so that was really helpful for the white people. That was really helpful, but it wasn't for black people. That's how we like laugh. I mean, that's how we talk. We get loud. We roll all over the floor, and so it's normal. But it's so whenever you're talking about seasoning, it's the same thing. Like, you can talk quietly,
Some black,
or you can
look at me trying to separate myself. Some of us,
some. Sure. So in
the
that
term is it just sounds like negative.
But it's not.
Which part sounds
saying
negative?
like white in comparison, like, obviously I want a seasoned food over like not seasoned food.
Well, it's not negative, but there is a difference between white Southern culture and black Southern culture. It really is. I mean,
So
just in
I
terms
think
of
what you're talking
preference.
about is white Southern cooking versus black Southern cooking. Maybe.
Well, then
I don't have enough information.
Then we would have to
Okay,
start kind of
okay.
going back to our preference being shaped by the lack of, and even in terms of parts of animals that we eat and stuff like that. Like, well, we call it chitlins, but it's chitterlings. Like, that's disgusting to me. But again, thinking about where these things originated from,
The roots of
black people taking the nothing and making something out of it that they made it good, which is probably why they overly salted and overly seasoned their food, because they were taking parts of an animal or parts of the food that weren't the most desirable, and they were trying to make that seem like a meal that was edible and that it was something.
Do you like pig feet?
I don't know if I've ever had it.
Do you like pig feet?
I've never had it.
Okay, that's a thing. But like, pig feet is, but it's taken, like, okay, there's a pig there.
There's the feet left.
There's what is left. Okay, that's what we're gonna eat. Even down to liver mush, right? Grind up whatever is left, everything that's left, bone, all the stuff, whatever, and you put it in the mush, and that's what we're gonna eat. So.
And we started frying it and making some type of meal that was supposed to be good.
Yeah. So it is it stems from, like, survival.
Yes.
Survival.
Yes, that traces all the way back through the generations that people unfortunately like forget about. We don't go that far back to have conversations about
160 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fun, guys.
This has been fun.
We'll have to do it
fun.
again.
I had fun.
Yeah. I
And
enjoyed
like,
it.
we could talk about it and hopefully I would love for us to pray out. I mean, this has been a joy to have like a light conversation about it, and just hopefully model being free and asking, being free and curious, asking questions, not being afraid. But I do feel like we all need prayer in this area right now.
Yeah.
Here's what I think you should pray. I think you should say, Lord, help the white people understand urban black culture and help the black people to really. No, I'm kidding.
Where's the rest of the prayer?
And help the black people and help the
Those
black
are the
people
start.
to understand the lack.
Oh God.
The void.
This really is a whole other conversation.
I'm just saying what you said.
Can I say my first nervous, just quickly before we go, my first nervous question that I asked Terrell? I don't even know if you remember it. Do you remember it?
I don't. But go ahead.
It was like, I guess maybe I'd known you for like 6 months. There was this man in New York. He was a cafeteria head. Do you remember the conversation? He was a cafeteria head, and it was Black History Month. And he was trying to honor the culture, and he made chicken and waffles and side watermelon. And I don't remember if he got fired or he either got fired or
He's a white dude that made it.
He was
Yes,
a
I
white.
remember.
He was a white guy that made it. And so I just really wanted to understand. I was like, can you explain to me like why that is not a good way to honor Black culture during Black History Month in a cafeteria?
Yeah. I remember that. And we had a
Or what would be a good way?
conversation
What would be a
about
good way?
stereotypes.
What would be a good way? What would be a good way to honor Black culture and Black History Month in a cafeteria?
Not
making chicken and waffles and watermelon.
What if he had just made one of those and not both?
What? Like
That's what you answered.
Like in honor of Black History Month?
I just feel like it was like I
They
feel
just
like
would have made it. And if people
I
just
just
made it
feel
on
like
a
the
regular
poor guy.
day,
The poor
that's
guy
fine.
was just
But now if he
trying.
let-
I know, and that's the thing. I would have understood the heart behind it, but
He ain't
most
had
Black
no
people
friends.
don't.
That's
He
just
didn't
fine.
have- he didn't ask
have no
anybody.
friends.
Or
He
he
didn't
did,
have
and
no
that's why he
friends.
felt that comfortable.
Well,
No,
Or, you know,
if
they
he
would've
had
told him
friends,
that. They
ain't
would've
no
told him
Black
If he had
person
friends,
on
they wouldn't have
any
let
end of
him
the
down that
spectrum
road.
told him to do that.
Okay.
they wouldn't have let him down that
He
road.
asked
they
a
have
white
told him to
person
do?
that said
He
they
had
had
some
Black
terrible
friends,
friends.
like, oh yeah, I do that.
Or they were making a joke.
I
What
mean,
would
because he
they-
could have made the chicken and waffles, maybe, and it would have been kind of like, okay. I mean, but we really ain't chicken and waffles. Kind of like that's a more modern version of being Black anyway.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, that's just I don't know how he would have been able to get away with that. I just serve breakfast or something and just be like, you
So
know,
don't
happy
do
Black
it.
History
Don't
Month.
do
Don't
it.
Don't
do
do
it.
any
Just don't
kind
do
of-
it. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, because
well,
I wouldn't
the
try to
stereo-
make Mexican food, you know, and be like,
Yeah.
in honor
Yeah.
of Mexican. Like, it's just
You would find a Mexican family to make Mexican food, and maybe that would have been the better way to do it
Exactly. That would
to
have
honor
been a
Black
better
History
way to
Month.
do it.
Bring in
It
a
would have
guest,
been a
a
better
guest
way.
chef.
Yep.
mean-
I would not. I
But
wouldn't
you
do
have
this.
to explain.
I would do this. I would do it. But I wouldn't stop by Pizza Hut and in response to Italian month and say,
Little bit. Pizza's not even from Italy. But you call me in the
Thank you.
mafia.
But
Not
that's the
all
thing.
Italians
That's
are in the
thing.
mafia.
But listen, what did you just say? What did you
I
just
said
say?
you're prejudiced against Italian people
No,
because you say I'm in the mafia.
Pizza is not.
It's
what?
not from Italy. I mean,
Pizza's
it's not an
even-
Italian. It
it's
was
not-
originated
it's
somewhere
not even
else.
Italian. And so what do I? And so that's what chicken and waffles and watermelon is a stereotype. It's like this is not even who we are. This is not even my culture.
Yes.
And so for you to like see this on TV or hear jokes about it or whatever, and then it's like, oh yeah, no, it's gonna be no. That means that, and so now I cannot go to another Italian family that's having an Italian meal, and I say I'm gonna bring Pizza Hut pizza because I know better now because I
Right.
have a friend,
Right.
right?
Yes. Just
He
have
ain't
a
had no
friend.
friends. The boy
Just
ain't have no
have
friends.
a friend.
The man had no friends.
Have a good friend to ask.
Now he's got no friends, no job. So
I think he just got put on like.
There you go.
So you would have said no, and you would have said no. Why? If you were his
just
friend,
And it's a stereotype.
is a
It's
stereotype.
a stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
It's a stereotype,
And that's-
and it would
you
not
missed.
be wise for
You
you.
at least do a stereotype that's right.
What's the one that's right?
Yeah, no, he just shouldn't not have tried to do anything
Mm-hmm.
that was black
Mm-hmm.
associated.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't translate well, and I could see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I can, but if he was my friend, I would have even me understanding. I've been like, hell no.
Don't do that.
But that's why it's helpful to have these conversations.
That's it.
We've had conversations, different kinds, with at even other churches. It's just helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Now we all know so much more things.
I learned things.
Me too.
Well, would you like to pray for us?
No,
Okay. Well,
I'm just kidding.
guys,
I would love to. I would always love to pray. Okay.
I really thought pizza was Italian.
No,
Hey
I
Ryan,
think
Ryan, I did too. I legit
Me
thought
too.
it was.
If anyone watching this
Legit
knew that
thought it
pizza was not Italian, you can comment and call us whatever you want. Because
Literally, Ryan.
you're the
When
smartest person
I was confident
Unless you're
when I
Italian.
said that too. I was confident. I'm like, pizza is definitely Italian.
It's the one you can't miss.
Yeah,
up.
it's like, yeah. What is
it
Romeo
does.
Italian?
Wait, no. Google said that it is.
Yeah. So is
Who invented? Wait, somebody else invented the pizza.
It's like the French and crepes.
Or French fries. I don't.
I think what it
It's
is.
like a France and French
I think
fries.
the American version of pizza is not necessarily what you get in Italy. It's like a, fast food version.
Sure.
But
Sure.
pizza is Italian. I was wrong. I was told false news. I still think
You're
there's.
Italian.
I know. I think
But
it's because
she
of
don't
the
like
Pizza
pizza.
Hut situation.
She doesn't
I
like
do
it.
like a good pizza.
She doesn't like pizza.
I still think I'm going to Google it more. I'm going to do my deep web dive. Okay. Praying. Dear God, I just thank you so much for Keith and Terrell and Ryan just being willing to be here today and really just, God, just give honor to you for how you've created us all differently, God. And I just want to pray right now, Lord, that you would just, especially, God, people who love you and call themselves followers of Jesus, Father, would you give people the courage and the boldness to pursue conversations with people who are not like them, God, so that we can love one another better, so that we can represent you better, God. And I pray against division. I pray where there is division that you would bring unity. I pray where there is fear that you would bring courage. I pray, God, that you would rise up your church and your people in such a way, Father, that they really experience your love and how you love us, God. God, I ask for your forgiveness for just any hate in hearts of people that represent you. I ask for your forgiveness any times I, Father, have not led with love. God, we ask that your Holy Spirit would be the one to do the unifying work in us. God, we pray for our church. We pray for UCity as a multi-ethnic church, God, that the enemy would just not be able to divide in any way. I pray for our country and our world, God, that you would take the reins, that you would do your sovereign work. We love you and we thank you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Hey guys, love you, and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, that was part 1 of our cultural conversation here at UCity, the church. Pastor Terrell has named it Black vs. White. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but please tune in for part 2, where we will have more conversation.